Yo guys, how's it going? It's your boy FG. Go ahead and pour in and we'll hop into this stream. Just give me a couple minutes to get situated. Hey, welcome in guys. Grab yourself a drink. We'll get started here shortly. I gotta get myself a drink here. Let me just finish these posts real quick. Grab a quick drink. And I want to go over my failed trades that happened earlier today, and then like my overall picture on the markets. But we're just gonna take it slow. You know, we're just hanging out tonight. All right, who we got in the chat here? Got Mr. Howie, Tattoo Destroyer, Geo, good to see you in. Mr. Geo, we got Smashy, Nick C, Miguel, Car Therapy, The Future, Ice Cooley, good to see you guys in. Doom User, good to see you, bro. Man, we are definitely settling down on some kind of support here. Looks like Bitcoin is getting a little bit snagged on the previous year's Q3 VWAP. This is the July of 2024 VWAP. Good to have you guys in, by the way. Thanks for joining me tonight. But what happened in July, guys? Do you remember the very important event in the markets that happened in July? Seems like a strange level, an insignificant level to stop at, but this is the month that Trump got shot. So when you put an anchored VWAP on that day, which I believe was June 13th, you can see that that's right where we're at here. So whereas the last low was a bounce off of that summer low there, kind of, this one is kind of bouncing off that VWAP from the Trump assassination attempt. And thanks to Geo, by the way, for pointing this out. But on Twitter, me and Geo found, and I don't know this guy, he's just some small account, but we just happened to come across this post just from, and I'm not singling this guy out at all whatsoever. I don't want anyone to gang on this guy whatsoever. This is purely educational purposes. But look at this person's sentiment here in regards to Trump. Basically, you know, putting it all on Trump, blaming everything on Trump, hating on Trump, saying, look, please die, Trump. So this is the sentiment that you would expect as you settle down on the VWAP from that day. So VWAPs are very good at gauging not just price trends, but sentiment trends. If you were someone who believed in Bitcoin and had a lot of conviction in the markets on that fateful day, this is actually a point where once we lose this level, you start to second guess yourself. So it's like these participants are starting to second guess themselves. So I don't mean to single that guy out, but you guys are going to start seeing that as these markets come down. A lot of condemnation is going to come down on Trump, whether it's from the left or just crypto people in general. But really, these people are just mad that they didn't sell the highs. In fact, they probably are tourists who got in at the highs. But, you know, when people don't take their own fate in their own hands and take profits before they see everyone else agreeing with them, this is what happens. You wait for the herd to sell, and then you gotta sell late. And then you gotta find other people to blame. So, while I do have critiques of Trump, obviously launching the Trump coin was some hostile acting type shit. The tariffs are not good for the markets. Ultimately, like in markets, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. All that matters is the money, your money. Where did your money go? And if the money's leaving you, who else can you blame but yourself, you know? So, unfortunately, we live in a society where personal accountability is rare. So, as we breach this level and we dip below 75, potentially going to Michael Saylor's average entry down around like 68 or something like that, expect all sorts of blame games in the markets. Now, how far have we come from the high here? So far, we've dumped only 30%. This is quite tame for a monthly red dot. A lot of times you get like a 50% correction off of the red dot that we're seeing on the monthly. So I am really not surprised whatsoever if Bitcoin comes down to any of these other previous year's quarterly supports, either the Q2 VWAP, which you can see on this label is at 74,427. So around 75K, and then around 69K is that previous year's year to date. So look at that, guys. This is something that if you've been watching me since like December, even before this new purple year to date started, we're back here top fishing in November, December. And one of the things I was really driving home with you guys is like, when this new year begins, we really got to trend on top of it, because once we start trending below it, it's going to become very likely to trade down to that previous year's year to date, and you get that yearly leapfrog. So just like how like my trades recently have been jumps from a new weekly VWAP to the previous weekly VWAP, or a new monthly VWAP to the previous monthly VWAP, so too are their yearly leaps. And these are amazing opportunities. But the problem with yearly leaps is they're very hard to see in advance. You need a lot of forward vision to call a move like this. Solana, it happened early. You can see like Solana had this move, this yearly leapfrog down there. That was only the beginning of a... Basically, that was only the beginning of it getting way worse. Now we're in a straight up bear market here on Solana. But even the stock market, look at the stock market crashing down. You know, even stocks are not immune to this. A crash down to the previous year's year to date here. Now, this is a really important level for a chart to hold, falling from a new year to the previous year. Obviously, falling beneath 2 yearly VWAPs, that's a lot of volume weighted resistance to be under. That kind of spells like a bear market. To give you guys an example here on Bitcoin, just one example of what happens when you lose 2 year to dates. We're going to go ahead and put a anchored VWAP here on January 1st of 2021. And then we're going to go ahead and put that 2022 VWAP up here. Now you can see what happens here when you start to show weakness under 2 VWAPs. You know, there's often a little bit of a fight, but that can be a signal of down there because you have 2 years of volume weighted resistance overhead. Another thing is like what I noticed here is that the market was eager to trade back down to that year to date before the turn of the new year. Whenever a chart is eager to get that leap done with before the new period even begins, that's often a sign of a strong move in that direction. So just a little example there of like what is possible in markets when you lose 2 year-to-date VWAPs there. So there's a lot of bad, you know, it's looking overall pretty bad. We would not be surprised if this thing came down lower, but you know, when you zoom in on these smaller time frames, there is like some potential here with these like short and medium term VWAPs jumping around and stuff. Like your previous weekly VWAP, last week's VWAP is all the way up here at 86,000. And there's a lot of resistance confluence here. So earlier this morning, early in the morning, we were longing this low here since it was a new weekly period. We were like gunning for this play up to that previous weekly VWAP there. And it was looking real nice. Like I'll zoom in on these smaller time frames. You know, up until we lost that weekly VWAP, it was trending pretty good. Got some volatility in that direction. But unfortunately, when you lose the new weekly VWAP there, you know, you continue down. So that was a dud, which it just happens, man. Weekly VWAPs aren't guaranteed. And the timing, your timing of them is also not guaranteed as well. So once we traded back down here, we actually started holding on that Q3 VWAP. So I did put out a little bit of a Hail Mary long call in the Discord here, just like a little stop under that low there. And this kind of has potential to, like, if you can break, if you get a daily leap from the new daily VWAP to that previous daily VWAP and you break out of that previous daily VWAP, now you've got 2 daily VWAPs backing you up, and you could get that squeeze up to the previous weekly VWAP. So the weekly idea is actually still in play. You've got lower lows here on the price, but the oscillator has actually created higher lows here. So hopefully I can make my money back on my funded account challenge with this play here. So wish me luck, guys. My account went down to like its last like $250 before it breached, and I already am back like 1,000 something. So we're clinging to life, and I think I can trade this account back, guys. I have not breached, and I think my redemption is nigh. So I think I'll be okay. And if not, it's all good. What I love about breakout trading is even if you breach the entire account, all you lose is that cost of evaluation. So it's basically like trading on super high leverage with a very small size, right? So yes, I'm trading with a 100K account, but I only paid 900 to take that test. So, and yes, you could simulate that style of risk management on your own with your own funds, but Breakout kind of gives you the floaties, the guardrails, the rules, the structure to trade normally, but in the confines of your own rules. Just catching up on the chats here. Mike Mads, good to see you in, man. Massey, Smorl, Grateful Dabs, Alexo Crypto. Got my bro in here, man. He says, "Wah, Crown Chakra." Man, I love you guys, man. I got all my people in here. Thanks for joining me. So, man, what we're seeing here is like, this is the trade I've got cooking right now. Just like a simple stop underneath that recent low. I could probably raise it now. I could probably raise the stop into the green, but I'm gonna just keep it there for now. And if I'm lucky, if I'm super, super lucky and this weekly leap does play out just like a day late, then I'm back, baby. We're back. So that'll be cool if it happens. If not, it's all good, man. And it sucks when you're in this overall downtrend. I mean, like, this monthly looks so freaking bad. The 2 week is, I mean, look at the Heikinashi. The Heikinashi red. Monthly Heikinashi is red and now confirmed with a second red candle. We are firmly in a macro downtrend. So knowing what we know as a NickCipher community, it's like the Twilight Zone when you go on crypto Twitter, man. Like, how do you call a bottom at every single one of these red weekly candles? Like, it's like, just wait for a bottom and 2 weeks of chopping, and then you get a green candle, and then it's like, okay, now we can call a little bit of a bottom. But it is easier to call things in hindsight. But we're in a strong downtrend, so overall, I don't feel really good about taking bullish leaps, Like, we fall down in the weekend, and the leapfrog idea is to the upside, which is counter trend. You're underneath a declining 5-day simple moving average, that black line back there. So, when the leapfrogs are going against the overall trend, they don't play out as good. An example of a winning leapfrog was like last week. Like, last week, we're in a macro downtrend. A new week forms from a high point at some key VWAP resistance, that election day VWAP. And look how clean this one was. This thing, as soon as the week begins, boom, all the way down to not only the previous weekly VWAP, which is hidden now, but beyond. So that was the banger. This was the move that I made the 20 grand on. So naturally, I come again like a vulture trying to do the same thing this week. But the problem is that this was an upward leap. We're going against the overall downtrend. So, I'm not surprised I got slapped. That's why, like I said, I like the breakout trading, because it throttles my maximum potential loss every week on these ideas to basically just 1%. So when it plays out for me, I got 100 grand working for me. And when it doesn't, I lose only $900. So it's a pretty sweet deal. So just be mindful that as this downtrend continues on throughout the year, because it probably is a very long-term downtrend with big ebbs and flows. We might have whole months that are bullish. But the bearish leapfrog ideas are going to be like the best ideas. So if there's ever a point where we're high up and a new month begins, like if we, let's just say, man, imagine the stink if a weekly leap plays out, and then in the next couple days, boom, imagine like a scenario like this, and it's just going crazy like this, wiping everyone out. Next thing you know, we're at like the Ides of March up here or something, and we just humiliated all the bears. You know, you're right at that next week from a high place. That's a perfect short opportunity. Or like when a new month begins, like if we're at the end of March going into April and we're at this level, that would be a good short, because you're shorting from a high place. It's a bearish jump back to the previous period's VWAP. Those are going to be the best plays in a downtrend. But yeah, so I'll probably have to get into the habit of, if I'm going to play a bullish leap, whether it's a bullish daily leap from the new daily to the previous daily, or the new weekly to the previous weekly, if it's going against the trend, I'll have to be taking profits very aggressively. And that's pretty much what I learned today. Man, if you guys have questions, I'm here for you. Here to answer your questions about VWAPs or NickCipher. Let me check the CME gap here. This was another thing that really messed with me today, was obviously we didn't get that futures gap fill that is pretty standard. You know, see, last week we got a very clean gap fill. The gap was to the downside. We're in a downtrend. That was a no-brainer. Whereas this one was a little trickier, right? We're in a downtrend, but the gap was to the upside. I wonder if I do a little Fibonacci. You can see that even when we do like a Fibonacci, I don't even think this hit the golden retracement. I mean, look how brutal this is, guys. This is a brutal gap rejection. We don't even go up to like the golden retrace or the 786 on that gap. We just barely wick up to the 50% retracement. And then there's a fake out to the upside too before it goes down. So man, that was a tough. This morning was tough, man. Another thing that tripped me up was the Heiken Ashi. Let me go back to the Heiken Ashi. Let's see here. Oh, that's the futures chart. Okay, here we go. So this moment was that was some bullshit, guys. You know, obviously you get these little 4-hour nodules on the, you know, for green candles in a downtrend for sure, but when I was in my long, there was no bottom wick to that 4-hour thing. So, you know, typically with Heiken Ashi, you see like this candle right here, see how there's no bottom wick on that? That's what you want to see working for you. If there's no bottom wick, that's a strong trend to the upside, because Heiken Ashi starts every candle at the midpoint of the previous. And so if there's no bottom wick, that means that that whole period never even went below halfway of the previous candle. That's a lot of bullish momentum. So these types of candles we love to see with Heiken Ashi, as long as you're in that direction of the trade. Now, if you're in the wrong direction, like let's say you longed here, and now you're starting to see, oh, a red candle, oh, that's not good. Second red candle, oh, that's not good. When you see this shit right here, that Heiken Ashi flat top on a red candle, that's how you know your account is about to get blown out right there. So this morning, man, I'm on the 4-hour, and there was no bottom wick to this candle. It just looked like a nice strong, and look how high it went too. So like it was going up super high, looking like one of those really hot, it was looking like one of these candles, like a nice momentum candle. But it just got turned around on me, man. Shit, I mean, look how nice and oversold that looked there too, man. So it was sad. It happens, but we live to trade another day. Crazy how bearish everyone got on this move down. Like you went on Twitter today, and man, it was like, it was just over, man. People were super bearish. So it took me a little bit, honestly, it took me some time to digest and lick my wounds a little bit. But with my last $250 on the funded account, I freaking Hail Married it, man. I was like, damn, this is looking divergent here. Look, we got lower lows on price and higher lows on the oscillator, and we actually do have a key level bounce off the Q3 VWAP, the VWAP basically from when Trump got shot. So let's hope we can dodge a bullet, as they say, and at least get our weekly jump, even though it's counter trend and risky, and I'm a retard and I'm stupid for longing in a downtrend. It is kind of funny how I'm like the first person on Twitter to be bearish, at least in like our little sect community of traders, whatever that we got. But here I am like longing in the downtrend. So I'm I feel like a clown sometimes, like trying to catch these bullish leaps. But at the end of the day, I sold all my crypto back in January, so I have a lot of cash. I have a lot of tether, and like I don't know what else to do with it other than trade, guys. ManBearPig says, I see the relief scam wick to take out the late shorts. Good shit, my guy. Yeah, man, I hope there's a relief scam wick. BK91 says Snake Eyes on the 4-hour should give us a decent move up. Let's take a look. Oh man, I hope so, bro. I hope this 4-hour flips bullish for us, man. I don't want people to lose their money, man. I mean, I care about you guys. Like, I've been a dick on Twitter because I'm small and insignificant and no one cares about me anyways. So I have to bark like a chihuahua to get anything done. But man, I mean, I hope it works out. I hope you guys get, if you haven't sold yet, I hope we get a big escape, bro. I hope it just goes to the freaking moon, man. I hope it goes up to 100K again, so that you guys can get out. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, like, historically speaking, you know, we look at the history around these monthly red dots, and they are not forgiving, guys. They are not. You don't get that second chance, really. In fact, this has already been the most forgiving, slow to start dump of all of them. It's already been forgiving. I mean, we've had months up here at 100K, or up there at 100K. We're not there anymore, but we were up there for a while, you know what I mean? A lot of selling and buying going on, and like, we were clinging to life up there for a while, so there's plenty of time to sell. Just like in the last cycle, when like, we had plenty of time in the high 60s for a long time to get out. But look at these previous cycles, man. Imagine, look, we're at rate at 19. What was the top of this wick here? This wick in the ICO bubble went to like 19.7. So imagine your target is 20K, and then in 1 month, you're down 55%. And the Heikin Ashi monthly is still green. By the time the Heikin Ashi flips red, you're down 70% from the high. And it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, blah, 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 blah. And it makes you think that is the bottom. See, like, the wicks are all, you know, it makes you think that like 70% was the bottom. But I remember this point in time very vividly. The space was shocked when that floor gave way, and it was an even bigger dump. It was an 85% dump. Man, look at this second. No one even talks about this. This was a mini bull bear cycle inside of that other one. But look at this a second 72% crash that happened from COVID there. So, you know, I mean, look at this previous run back here. Like, as soon as you hit the top, you had like 2 months of the top, and then boom, look, that you're down. This was crashing like 67%, then went up again, then crashed 50%, then went up again, and then, man, that thing was crazy. So when you compare the volatility from all these prior runs to what we see now, it's really not that much. I mean, we've had, like I said, like a small 30% correction so far. If this is anything like the past, and everyone's crying, man. I mean, there's a lot of pain, a lot of panic, a lot of hurting, record liquidations, and we haven't even gotten started. We haven't even gotten started. It's just getting started, guys. Car Therapy asks a question. He says, do you ever use VWAPs on moon cycles from the previous new moon coming into this Thursday full moon? I've never put a VWAP on a moon cycle before. I've never done that. But if you did do that, I wonder if they leap. I don't have the dates of the moons. Let me look up the dates on the moons real quick. Give me a second. That's a good question, man. Moons plus VWAPs. I know 14th is a blood moon. That's partly a reason why I was in favor of us being bullish up until the Ides of March, and then the Ides of March being a bearish kind of catalyst. But then we got this big push down, and I'm like, ugh. But now I'm longing again. I'm looking up the moon dates here. Alright, January 13th, February 12th. Okay. Let's see, man. Let's see. Okay, so January 13. Wow. Look at that perfect bottom. Holy shit. Damn. Wow. A VWAP on that moon is quite good, man. And that was the first moon of the year. Was bullish. But once you get a full... What was the first candle close under this, I believe, was right here, right? Probably that one or this one. A lot of manipulation in the middle of February, for sure. But you never got a... It was never invalidated by a close above that VWAP. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, what's the moon cycle indicator? Alright, there we go. So I really like the VWAP from that first moon of the year. This is a really great one. That's really great, man. No, I love the fact that the bearishness of like these two candles confirming under it was never invalidated by a green candle over it. So technically, the VWAP from this moon back here kept you bearish and got you in that continuation down. If you were like sticking true to it. I know it's hard to stick true to these over days and days and days, but all right, a VWAP from this moon. Yeah, it's definitely relevant. This one's a little strange though, because it's, you know, candles are closing on top of it. So it's a little misleading. It almost makes you think that the market is like bullish when it was not in hindsight. So I don't know about that one. But for the most part, man, what if I go on a smaller time frame? What do these look like maybe on like the... Like you go on like the 4 hour, and maybe this is like a good time frame where like once you start seeing closes above or over, it could be like a breakdown or a pump. It really just depends if the moon falls on a critical level. You know, like this moon was at a low, so it's just a VWAP from that low, which will be relevant. So it's just added confluence. I really like this one here. So obviously if the moon itself is respected, such as this moon here, and you get a sharp reaction, then a VWAP from that point is going to work out good for you. But you know, moons are nice, but VWAPs are great. VWAPs on any important date, measuring not only the sentiment but what the price is doing from that date, from that key date, is very useful. And so apparently we have a blood moon coming up on the 14th, which basically is the Ides of March. I've mentioned this already, but you guys got to remember that last year we got that moon and it was bullish, but look, this is the Ides of March. By the time the 15th of March came around, which is the day that Julius Caesar was assassinated, that was the yearly top. Look, this was the top for the entire year all the way up until election. Around 74K. So middle of March, definitely a time to look out for. Man, that would be crazy if this ripped up, scammed, you know, wrecked a bunch of bears, and then around the 15th there's that move down or something like that. That would be nuts, man. But I'm just kind of conjecturing. Man Bear Pig said, "Peace, man. See you again in 1 to 2 years when the bear market bottoms. Lol." You'll be back next Tuesday, bro. You'll be back. Bear market's not the time to give up and walk away, man. You don't want to get soft. You gotta still be a warrior in the garden, man. Bear markets are like gardens. Bull markets are like battlefields. You know, we're doing push-up in a bull market. We're doing push-ups. We're flying around the country. We're trying to advocate for Bitcoin. We're a bunch of little Michael Saylors in a bull market. But in a bear market, man, it's like every man for himself. You got to be like Jason Casper, man, with your chickens and growing vegetables and shit in the bear market. Zach the Trader says, if you can't afford Leapfrog V3, what settings for the regular VWAP could you use to still trade the market? So there's a couple free VWAP indicators. If you just like search anchored VWAP, there is a free anchored VWAP tool here. And you go into the settings and you could just set the date to whatever you want. So let's say we wanted to go with the election day. So you go 2024, November 4th. And I like to set the hours and minutes to 0. And this should give us a nice VWAP from that election day. It might take a second to load here. Let's see here. Am I doing this right? 11/4/2024. All right, let's try inauguration. Let's see if a later date works. Man, it works every time for me, man, except like right now. I don't know if it's this chart I'm looking at or if it's taking a while to load. Let me try a different chart here. Man, I don't know, man, but there is a all set says try time 1400. Okay, let me try. Yeah, this is strange, bro. Yeah, no, it's this anchored VWAP is like not loading right. One sec. Either way, bro, I would just search one of these anchored VWAP tools and set some custom ones yourself. Or let's see if this one works. All right, here we go. Boom. Okay, there. So I don't know what happened to this one, but this A VWAP works here. You could set that manually. See, I just set one on the election day. That's a VWAP I really love. And it's important to set them like this as an indicator. That way you can go across the different charts and actually look at every crypto around that VWAP. Because you never know what kind of opportunity you might find around the VWAPs sifting through these charts. You may catch a monthly leap on Bitcoin, but a week later you might get a monthly leap on Ethereum or something. So this is why I like the indicator VWAPs a little bit more than the anchored VWAP tool. So you could always just use the anchored VWAP tool over here on your toolbar under volume-based instruments, and you could always just place one manually, but that's going to only be on that one chart. So this is a VWAP from the high on Fartcoin. It's just a drawing. If I go to Ape, there's no more VWAP there. So it just depends if you're doing analysis on one chart or many. So Bitcoin on these smaller time frames is chopping up here. We are kind of top fishing here. Let's see how we're doing around those daily VWAPs. Looks like we are getting, look at this, guys, right out the gate, a new day forms, little bit of spillover, but we get a little bottom here, and we do reclaim over that daily VWAP, and we do get a nice quick daily leapfrog. They don't always happen like that, but I would say that because of the insane sell-off that we got, this was like a springboard. So this is a relentless uptrend. Look, you get no real pullbacks, no test of that daily VWAP as support, just a straight shot basically up to the previous daily VWAP. And I bet on NickCipher, this was looking bear divvy the entire way. Like, this happens. Like, once you'll catch certain days where this happens, where there's such a hard springboard loaded from whatever happened the day prior that you get a move like this with no real pullbacks. And look at all these little bear divs that didn't play out. Look at like the oscillators going lower, prices going higher. You know, when this is printing, every little red Heikin-Ashi that you see is scary, man. But then it just gets undone by a green Heikin-Ashi, and the trend just continues. Look at the money flow pouring out here. Price going up higher, money flow pouring out. Like, basically right here was like a great place to take profits, you know? But then look, it just doesn't even form a lower low, just continues up higher. So it's hard to, you know, when you just have NickCipher, if your chart just looks like this, you know, NickCipher and nothing else, and you're trading purely with NickCipher, it can be a little bit daunting, because NickCipher, it's almost like a feminine indicator. It's like your mom. It's going to justify your delusions a little bit either way, bullish or bearish. And so for me, I need the supports. I need the key levels. I like knowing that, oh, okay, we gained some traction on today's VWAP. I actually have a target above that I believe that the price wants to go to. And that helps me to have a little more conviction in this chop, especially when the uptrend is like unforgiving like this, and you really never get any healthy pullback. And this could, I mean, it could end here and the downtrend could continue. We are in a macro downtrend, guys. Can't forget the risk that if we lose both these daily VWAPs, we're probably going lower, probably going down to Michael Saylor's average entry. But if we gain some traction on these two daily VWAPs either tonight or tomorrow morning, the trend could get even more relentless. Just up only, man. It could just up only itself up to that previous weekly VWAP. Jason Mayer says, thank you. You cannot get the daily previous weekly to show on my Leapfrog. Any ideas? Make sure you enable it, man. Make sure that when you go into the settings on your Leapfrog, make sure you have the daily VWAP and the labels checked here. Obviously, if these are unchecked, you're not going to see that daily strategy. Make sure you check that. Make sure it's checked in your style settings there. Sometimes they take a while to load, but if that doesn't solve your problem, man, go ahead and send me a screenshot in like a support ticket or something, and we'll work it out. We'll figure out what's going on. New World Disorder, cool name, bro. It says weekly green dots give a good return almost always. You know, it's a little bit early to say on the weekly. Definitely still an immature signal here. Still not even close to clipping. Not even, it's still a little bit early on that call. But maybe if we go down the time frames, maybe there's something. I would say that, you know, the daily, maybe there's a chance that, given that the daily is at the 60 line, this is kind of the level, the negative 60 line, I should say. Going below this, that means you got like runaway train status to the downside. So it is possible, bro, that, especially if the weekly leap does play out and we do chop up to like 86.9, then we would see this daily wave kind of do something like that, huh? And that would lead into the higher time frame. So keep an eye on this signal. If that matures a bit, it could turn into something. Exact is asking me for a chart recommendation. He just wants me to look at Ondo. Man, a lot of you guys are into Ondo, man. That's J Chains' favorite chain. So Ondo, you know, struggling after a yearly leapfrog. A new year started, struggling around that new VWAP. Right around, let's see, where was inauguration? Inauguration was right here. A little bit of hype, but boom, Ondo was not spared. That brutal crash, almost to its year-to-date VWAP, 45% crash right there. Really nice buyback though. Look at the strength on that buyback. Holy shit! But it did ended up coming down, and it did hit that year-to-date VWAP there. Sadly. So given that it's now under 2 year-to-date VWAPs, this is bear market territory. You really got to watch this thing. Obviously, like, there's a likelihood of it reclaiming the range and, like, you know, chopping up in here like that, but the odds of it reclaiming both VWAPs is kind of low. I would expect Ondo to kind of fall into a little bit of a bear market here. Not much data to go off of here, but your monthly Heiken Ashi is red. Looking at some of the smaller time frames on Ondo, it's got a nice gap up to that previous weekly, but you're just in a very strong downtrend. I'd be taking majority profits at that year to date right here. The previous year's year to date. But you might be getting a little daily leapfrog and then a little retest of that year to date. Just be mindful that it's a bullish idea in a downtrend. You got that declining 5-day simple moving average bearing down on you. And you're under 2 yearly VWAPs. Now, is it a potential good time to begin dollar cost averaging into Ondo if you believe in the project and you're sticking around for multiple years? It is real cheap. You're under 2 year-to-date VWAPs, but I'd say you're a little early to start aping into this. It's probably entering a long, prolonged bear market. So, I don't know how low it could go, man. I really don't know how low it could go. It could cling up in here in these VWAPs and just kind of range in them while going like sideways down and eventually ending down at these lows again. It could go to 0 for all I know, man. Who knows, man? But I do know that being under 2 year-to-date VWAPs is not good. And looking at XRP here, XRP trying to bounce off that previous Q4 VWAP like it did here. I don't know if it'll be sustained. The more times you test a level, the more likely it is to break. Notice how Ripple has yet to get its yearly leapfrog here. So a new year spawns. We have not found our way down there to $1.27. Ripple moves quick too. Look at that sharp move there. Ripple's got big moves. Quick moves. Ripple pumps 60% there. Ripple crashes 30% there. 50% pump, 40% dump. So, I mean, it has these big wicks. Ripple is just a really volatile asset when it gets moving, man. Ethereum is another one that's very, I mean, man, look what happens to a chart when it falls under 2 year-to-date VWAPs and you get that cross. Basically got a death cross of year-to-date VWAPs. That's rare to see. You don't see this moment in time on a chart that often. But you can see what happened to Ethereum from that point as we get absolutely murdered. So Ethereum is in a bear market, man. That doesn't mean it can't come up and chop everyone up and then go back down for a whole month and then go back down or something. But I would say that, you know, being under the previous 2 yearly VWAPs kind of puts you in a bear market. And same deal with Solana here. Haven't gotten that bearish cross yet of the yearly VWAPs, but it's in a bad posture. If it comes up to its previous weekly VWAP, you do got a nice volatile 20% move there, but your counter trend, it ain't pretty, man. Akshat wants me to look at Super. Do a couple more chart recommendations and then we'll call it a night. Now look, you're seeing here, bro. Look at Super getting that bear market cross of the yearly VWAPs. And look what happens. You get that continuation down. So these are signs that you just simply don't want to ignore. And these are the late signs. The earlier signs were already back here, back in November, December. Looking at the monthly on Super, this thing was, you know, you don't want to wait for the red dot. If you wait for the red dot, guys, you got to become the red dot. Don't wait for that red dot. Become the red dot. That's the lesson that everyone should learn from this recent market top that we've experienced. Is you don't wait for whales and institutions to dump on your ass, because then you're selling at 50% from the high. You got to be forward thinking. You got to look at the hype going on in the markets and be able to gauge the sentiment. The sentiment, is it overblown? Is there sell the news events happening? Are there hostile actors? A new year's always a chance for the other side to take the reins. But I think that's it for me, guys. I'm going to bounce for the night. I'll be back next Monday, hopefully with some better results with my trading. This week kind of sucked, but hopefully I can save this funded account and have some positive results for you next week. But it's okay, because last week I was able to extract $20,000 from the market. So, man, who cares if you blow an eval when you know, when it does hit, you've got 100K working for you. That's why I'm a big advocate of the funded trading. Now, obviously, you could get those results with your own self-funded route. You could go self-funded, but I would recommend emulating the rules that Breakout enforces, such as like a 4% account drawdown daily limit. If you lose 4% of your account in a single day, you gotta have a cool-off period of 24 hours. You got to wait for the next daily candle to trade again. That's one rule they got. If you lose more than 6%, it's a breach. So you got to work that money back somehow. You got to wait till next paycheck or something and get your account back to break even or something. You can't be on that revenge trading shit. And you got to let the trades come to you. Last year when I was self-funded, I was waiting for the big monthly plays. So once a month, you know, Bitcoin would just like look like it was going to go back to the previous month's VWAP and stuff. Like, you know, like when a new quarter would begin, you're looking at NickCipher. NickCipher's trending down. We're far away from the year to date as soon as April opens. So that's like a free 20% move, and you have high confidence of where the asset is going. And look, you bottom at the year to date with a nice daily oversold reading there. Right at the turn of a new month, right on May 1st, you're at a bottom. And where does it go? It goes right back to April's anchored VWAP. So that's an example of a monthly idea that I was taking advantage of last year. Happened every single month, basically until like election month. And it's happened this month too. I mean, look, as soon as March began, look, as soon as at the turn of March, look at that volatility there, back to the February VWAP. Right at the start of February, we opened February here. And look, it's a small gap down to the January VWAP, aka the year-to-date VWAP. But when you have a small gap like this, don't mistake that as a small opportunity and, oh, I gotta wait till next month. No, what that means is the market was eager to test last month's VWAP before the new month even began. So the market is eager to go down. So when you have a tight gap between a new month and the previous, chances are is that whatever direction that is, in this case, it was down. You see how once we finally make that move, it is down at the end of the month there. What about December here? What about December? Check out this. So December was back here, December 1st. The year-to-date spawns down here, and so it has to go up to touch the December VWAP. And look, the overall direction was up for a while. You did get stopped out, or like, you know, there was some downside, because remember, it's a new quarter, and you are getting pulled back down to the previous quarter's VWAP. So it's monthly, it's quarterly, it's weekly, it's all that shit. You got to anticipate new weeks, new months, new quarters, and just use everything in your power to make an educated guess as to where you think the markets are going. If the market starts doing what you think, then you have the environment where profits can be made. But that's it for me, guys. Much love. Have a great night. Have a great week. Trade safe, and hopefully next week get some better results. Peace, guys.